Hello and welcome to ThePrint. I'm Zoya, and in today's Great Speeches series, we revisit former Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri's address in Parliament on 18 September 1964 during a motion of no confidence against his government in the Lok Sabha. Lal Bahadur Shastri, known for his humility and decisive leadership, had assumed office after the death of Jawaharlal Nehru in 1964. His speech in Parliament was a forceful defense of his administration and a reaffirmation of democratic principles. In his address, Shastri countered the opposition's criticism, particularly the charge of deviating from Nehru's policies. He strongly asserted that evolution of policies is an integral aspect of democratic governance. He said, and I quote, "In a democracy, there is nothing like deviation or deviationist. It does not find a place in the dictionary of a democracy. In a democracy, there is every opportunity for rethinking and freedom for the formation of new schemes and policies." End quote. He reminded the Parliament that even Gandhi had introduced a complete transformation in India's freedom movement. He said, "What happened when Mahatma Gandhi took over the leadership? There was a complete overhaul, complete change in philosophy, policy, technique, and programs. Mahatma Gandhi completely deviated from Lokmanya Tilak, Aurobindo Ghosh, and Lala Lajpat Rai." End quote. When the opposition asked him to not use the word deviated in this context, Lal Bahadur Shastri stood his ground, asserting how Gandhi pivoted from the tit-for-tat approach that initially defined the Indian freedom struggle. He said, "Lokmanya Tilak went to the extent of suggesting that he would be agreeable to responsive cooperation. Sri Aurobindo and many of his other followers felt that there was no alternative but to resort to arms in order to fight the British government or authorities. Then comes Mahatma Gandhi. He completely disagrees with them and adopts a new philosophy and a new technique. Will you condemn Gandhiji for this?" End quote. Similarly, he cited the example of Jawaharlal Nehru, who, despite being deeply influenced by Gandhi, had developed his own independent approach to governance. Shastri's speech was not just a defense of his government, but also a broader reflection on leadership and political evolution. He highlighted that true leaders adapt to changing circumstances, a principle he illustrated with examples from global politics. Pointing to Lenin's adaptation of economic policies in the Soviet Union, he said, "When the first communist government was formed, Lenin tried to put into effect fully all the policies enunciated by Marx in Das Kapital. Free kitchens, free traveling, free stamps, everything was almost free. Everybody could go and take his food from the government kitchen. Then there were several programs of nationalization, etc. What happened? Lenin found after some time that it was impossible to work some of them. So he announced a new economic policy and it was put into effect. It was a departure from what Marx had actually said in his book." End quote. Then Shastri proceeded to give the example of Stalin, who he said was completely different from Lenin. Adding to his point, he said, "I consider Lenin to be one of the biggest revolutionaries of the world. But if I might say, I hope I would be excused, I consider Stalin not to be a revolutionary at all. Whether one agrees with it or not is a different matter, but Stalin used the government machine for continuing his reign over the Soviet land until he lived. For him, it was just a struggle for power throughout his life." End quote. Shastri also cited the example of Soviet PM Nikita Khrushchev to assert how political leaders modify their approaches to address contemporary challenges. Shastri said, and I quote, "He refuses to walk on the beaten track. A leader, generally, if he is really the leader, does not walk on the beaten tracks because in the political field, situations change, men change, conditions change, environments change, and the real leader must give the reply to the changing conditions." End quote. In response to opposition concerns that his government leaned too heavily on Nehru's legacy, Shastri reassured Parliament that while Nehru remained an inspiration, his government would take full responsibility for its actions. He said, and I quote, "We do not want to drag in the name of Pandit Jawaharlal ji for covering our lapses and inefficiencies. We will never do that." End quote. His speech was a defining moment in his early tenure as Prime Minister, as it reinforced his authority while upholding democratic values. Shastri's tenure would later be marked by crucial moments, such as his leadership during the 1965 war and his iconic call for self-reliance with the slogan, "Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan." Thank you for listening. For more from The Print, become a subscriber at theprint.in/subscribe. I'm Zoya in Delhi. Tune in every day for more insightful news and analysis.